Hey guys, it's me, Kurt. It's been more than a hot minute, but I'm back and I want to give you, our 10 loyal subscribers, an update on where I've been and what's been going on and what's coming soon. I published our last video on August 29th of 2021, almost 4 years ago. It was a solo cross-country training flight to Howard Airport, and it was the last flight I took at the time for almost a year. I was within maybe 8 hours of completing my certification, and I quit. Straight up, quit. I had a safety issue that cropped up on my next flight in early September after that video. I went out to pre-flight my aircraft and I noticed something odd. Well, let's take a step back. For anyone who's used to training aircraft, you know that there's a certain amount of inherent sketch to the process. Duct tape, old planes, in-op placards, these are all just facts of life, unless you're in one of those big corporate outfits that has the resources to turn over trainers every few years. It's just a reality you deal with. You get used to it, you adapt, you move on. But on that morning in September 2021, I noticed something odd. I stooped low under the plane to look at the lights and the antenna, and there was a drip coming from the other side of the aircraft. It was fuel seeping out of the wing. Not really a drip, but more like a faucet trickling fuel on the ground. I was alarmed, obviously, so I ran in and told my instructor, and he casually said, "Yeah, don't worry about it. It does that. It'll stop." I asked if he was sure, and he assured me it was fine. I went back out to keep pre-flighting, but the sketch factor was increasing quickly. After a full circuit of the plane, a couple minutes, it was still dripping like a faucet left on. A thin, steady pool of fuel streaming out and pulling up on the tarmac. I went back in and I said, "Hey man, this isn't right, it's still dripping." And he was now joined by 2 other instructors, and he looked at me and kind of oddly, and he said again, "Don't worry about it, it'll stop." And the other 2 assured me it was fine and I should go fly. I'm a mechanical cat, right? And I had a feeling something was wrong. There was something wrong happening. So I went out and I sat in the plane and I thought about canceling my flight. Fall was coming, work was kicking my ass, and I needed the flight to check right. I needed to get it done. But this was sketchy, despite the assurances of 3 instructors. Before I could decide to cancel the flight, the owner of the flight school came running over and he's shouting my name and waving his arms. Kurt, get out of there, there's a fuel leak." "I know," I said. "The guys are telling me to go fly anyway, that it's fine." The owner seemed kind of dumbfounded and he called the 3 instructors out there and they were incredulous, but trying to blame me, right? "You didn't say it was this bad." Like, seriously? What the actual fuck? You're the instructors. So needless to say, I quit that school right then and there. Work took over, life took over, family, and I found myself in May of 2022 still needing those 8 hours. So I went to another flight school in the area and they put me into a rapid program to finish the training. And so much so that while I recorded many hours of flying during that time, I didn't have much time to compile a video. I got to the point in my check ride by late July of 2022. I was done with training. I was ready to check ride. And then 2 things happened in rapid succession. I almost killed myself in the airplane, and my dad died. Dad was sick for a long time, a Navy veteran who spent a lot of time on land during the Vietnam War in various Asian countries. And he developed cancer in 2001, most likely either from Agent Orange or from the very high EMF devices he worked on as a young man. And over 21 years, the spinal cancer slowly robbed him of his mobility, his freedom, and eventually his life. And he was wheelchair bound from late 2018 on and mostly bed bound from 2020 on. And the week of my last flight ever, he was newly entered into home hospice care, and I was working the night shift trying to take care of him. This was mostly consisting of playing pharmacist and administering medications at midnight and 4 a.m. It's a surreal, awful experience that I hope none of you ever have to experience, but one that I'm infinitely proud for undertaking and grateful for having the chance to undertake. Being able to care for my dad in that way, a man who certainly had his faults, we all do, but worked his ass off every day of his life for his family. He was infinitely proud of me, and in my 40s still called me kiddo. He became the most patient, positive person in his final years despite an absolute shit hand being dealt to him. It was my absolute privilege to take on that caretaking and help my mom out. But you find yourself sitting in the kitchen in 4 a.m. sleep deprived with a pharmacy in your fridge with some of the scariest, hardest drugs you can imagine. When you hear of some celebrity ODing, like half the time these are the things that they find in their systems: morphine and fentanyl and lorazepam and atropine, and heavy stuff, right? And you're just there with all of it by yourself. You get instructions and they go like this. You can give them a unit of each one of these every 4 hours. But if you need to, you can give them 4 units every 4 hours. And if you really need to, you can give them 4 units every hour. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, you know. The night before my last flight, the night of my last flight, it was 4 a.m. My mom stirred for some reason and she joined me in the kitchen at 4 a.m. She had never done that in those weeks. I remember saying to her, "This is so fucking surreal, Mom. I don't know what to do with this stuff. I know he's getting close, but I don't know, should I do 1 dose or 4 doses, or what do I do?" It's almost like they're trying to get me to kill him. And Mom worked in healthcare her entire career, and she just smiled and she said, "Kurt, I think that's part of it. They're trying to hurry things along." And I just teared up and said, I don't know if that's right or if that's wrong. And I'll never forget, she looked at me very soberly and she said, "Honey, he's not there anymore. Not really anyway." Dad hadn't been conscious for 5 days at that point. And he would die after the following night, after another long night of me playing pharmacist. But in between those 2 nights, in that spooked, confused mindset, I made a very poor decision to go fly and get in 1 more training flight to prepare myself for the check ride, which I was nervous about. But you're gonna have to wait until my next video to hear that story. The story about the worst landing I'll ever perform, the one that almost killed me. But we're back. And we're going on some new adventures. We're bringing some new things along. We're bringing some friends along with us. And I can't wait to share those with you guys. So until next time, which will definitely not be a couple years, it'll be a couple days. I'll see you all soon. I hope everyone's doing well. Take care.